Hey guys, Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. Welcome back to the channel. We have a TV with a problem that's fairly common. I'll show you what it's doing and I'll show you how I'm going to fix it. I'll take you along for the journey. I'm in my studio today, which is a bit different from my normal viewers. It might be a little bit echoey, but two reasons. We've got air conditioning in here and it's very hot outside, and I've got more room in here because I've got no room in my shed for a big TV. I'll show you what it's doing and then we'll proceed to pull it apart and fix it. Okay, let's turn it on and straight away we can see a problem. There's white dots all over the place. Now this TV was dropped off to me in the e-waste and they said it rattles and it's got white dots, so they were throwing it out. And I said, well no, I reckon we can save this. And they said, I've got the remote, here it is, here's the power cord, go for your life. We don't want it. I think they'd already bought a new one. So let's put a picture on there, and the only DVD I've got here actually is the owner's manual for our table tennis robot. So at least it'll give us a picture. So let's start that up. Oh, we've got the LG picture from the DVD player, so you can see all the white dots. We're going to lose that picture in a minute, but once we get the main screen of the DVD, we'll have a better look. Here we go, the sound works fine. Let's turn the sound down. Not that I don't think it'll be copyrighted music. Now we have nearly every single LED, which is the backlights, has lost its diffuser. They fall off, the glue lets go. There's one down there that's still okay, and I think there's one behind the robot head that's still okay, but pretty well, oh, might be one up there, but every other one has fallen off. And if we look closely down in this corner, although we're getting a bit of wavy, weird stuff from the screen, you can see all the reflectors gathered in the corner. Well, they're not reflectors, they're diffusers, or lenses, I guess. And when you move the TV back and forward, you can hear them rolling around inside. It's like you're shaking a giant money box. There's like probably 30 of them, all rolling around the bottom. And obviously we can't watch a picture like that. I mean, you can see it, but it's certainly not ideal. So we're going to have to pull it apart. We're going to have to take the screen off. We'll get all the little diffusers or lenses and we'll glue them back in place, and we should fix the TV and have a really good LG TV when we're finished. And as I said, I've got absolutely no room in my shed for a big TV, and look at this beautiful large workbench, especially designed for working on flat screen TVs. So now to start the operation, let's roll out the protective mat, lovingly supplied by Christine's Home Affairs. She doesn't know it yet, but there's so much fabric in here, I'm sure I can borrow a piece, and we don't want to scratch the table tennis table. And we'll place our TV face down. So we've got a nice flat soft surface that won't scratch the screen, and we can now remove all the screws from the back cover. This TV doesn't have a stand on it. I didn't get a stand with it. I think they had it mounted on the wall. If it's going to be a good goer and we're successful, I should be able to pick up a stand for it. I think it just has two separate feet. Just for reference, this TV is an LG 50LB5610, and it was made in April 2014. With the screws removed, and taking note that a couple of them are different, they're actually self-tappers that go into the plastic, whereas the rest go into the metal. The self-tappers were in the middle. You need to note that for when we're reassembling. So with the screws removed, we should be able to remove the back panel. Like such. Inside the cover we find the power board, the main logic board. Underneath this steel panel will be the T-con or timing board. We do need to remove that because underneath this plastic housing here, which holds the sensor light and this power switch, there are some ribbon cables that we'll have to disconnect. These are the speakers, and we'll take them out as well. I think they pretty much just sit in there or clip in, and we'll just unclip the wiring. So we don't need to take the boards off the chassis, but we do need to access the edge here. And then we're going to have to remove some screws around the outside bezel. Now we'll unplug the speaker, and I think they'll just lift out of rubber grommets. There we go. and the right hand side, and we don't need to remember which way they go because they are actually marked right hand and left hand. Then we've got 2 screws to remove here to take the power switch and sensor assembly off. And we will unplug the ribbon cable here from the logic board. And something I just noticed, the board is actually loose. Now I believe these screws, which are actually important earthing screws, they earth the boards to the main chassis, I believe they gradually loosen themselves with the TV being hot and cold over the course of its life, being left on and then turned off. And that can certainly cause problems with your TV, so we will tighten those up as well. I don't think there's any movement on the power board, but yeah, that needs fixing. The next step is to remove the cover here over the T-con board. These are much smaller screws, and that cover will lift away. Now we can remove these 2 ribbon cables by lifting up the tab and sliding them out. Rather than do that, I'm going to take this one off this side because the T-con board is loose, and this is an easier cable to remove and to locate than with those little cables, and then the whole lot can fold back. But we won't do that yet because we've got to take these metal guards off because there's strip boards along the bottom that need to fold back as well. So again, some small screws to remove these panels. And these ones also have some sneaky little screws underneath. And now we should be able to unclip these metal panels that cover the side strip boards. The next stage is to go right around the perimeter of the TV and take out all the little screws. Now I'm going to put a couple of screws just back into this T-con board because I want to turn the TV over and remove the outer bezel, and I don't want the board flopping around and damaging the ribbon cables. So we'll just put a couple back in there, not overly tight, just to make sure it stays in position and it doesn't stress any of these cables. Now we'll gently roll the TV over and rest it on the other side. It will rest on these 4 pillars, so it won't hurt any of the boards. And we can hear all the diffusers or the lenses inside. Now we can unclip the outer bezel. Now just wipe away any dust and grit from the edge of the screen. Now most videos I've seen want you then to unclip the display and lift it out, which is extremely dangerous because they're very, very delicate. Some of the proper repair shops have suction cups that work, but a lot of the videos I saw actually showed people break their screen, or if you read the comments they'll say, I did what you said but I broke my screen. So I'm going to turn it back over and let the screen rest safely on the fabric. Now the screen can't be damaged, and we just need to gently open the clips on the second bezel and lift the chassis away from it. You've got to be very these clips are very fine and delicate. If you break a couple, it doesn't really matter, but they will they obviously need to clip on when you're putting it back together. So I find just levering them out a little bit and pushing the plastic down releases it from the metal chassis. And you can hear them click when they're free. A little bit harder on the corners. And now when we get to the bottom, we need to take those 2 screws out we put back in before. And we need to release the strip boards from these little rubber holders, and then we can fold the T-con board and the strip boards right out of the road, and they're going to be very safe resting on the table. So we've got a few more clips along the bottom here now, and we should be able to separate the chassis from the actual screen. We're carefully lifting the inner chassis and making sure the clips are released as we go. There we go. We'll just support that corner while I release the other corner. Okay, the clips are released all around the top and down the sides. The bottom clips should just fall away as we lift the TV away from the screen. So there we have it, the TV is separated, not a single plastic clip was broken. The screen is beautifully protected, lying flat on the table. We don't have to even separate the diffuser sheets, they can all stay there, so there's no risk of mixing up any order or getting dust between them. You can see all our little LED diffusers or lenses floating around there. Any wonder the thing sounded like a money box. They're everywhere. And courtesy of some more of Christine's great fabric, we've now laid the main TV chassis up here where we can actually work on putting all these diffusers back in their respective positions. Look at that, there's only one left. The other couple must have fallen off in dismantling, and I wonder how tight that one is. There you go. So every single one of them has let go. So to put these diffusers back on, they have 3 little dots on them, and the dots line up with the 3 dots around the LED. And all we want to do is first try one and make sure you get used to lining the dots up, because when it's in the right position, they kind of almost, you can feel that they've located. That one hasn't yet. So get used to placing them in the right position. There we go. It kind of just dropped in and it feels like it's locked. In fact, it's almost stuck, but it's not because there's no glue. But when they're in the right position, you know it. So we're just going to use 3 very small dots of glue on those 3 spots. And I'm using Loctite. It's actually a gel control. It's a super glue. And I believe Loctite is one of the best that you can use for this sort of thing. A lot of people I've read use Gorilla Glue, which apparently is okay too, but it's probably better suited to timber, whereas the Loctite one's better suited to plastics. We certainly don't want to get any glue on the LED. It's going to muck up the light, and excessive glue is just going to cause problems. You don't need much, 3 dots on each of those 3 mounting posts, and it's going to take me a while to do all these, so I'll get back to you shortly. So I haven't got many to go, and I've worked out a pretty good system. I'm trying the diffusers on the LED first and just aligning the 3 mounting holes, and if they don't clip in nicely, I turn it round to try the next sequence. And when they clip in nicely and you can feel them lock, I'll take it off and just put it aside at that orientation, and I'll do the same for another one. Sometimes for whatever reason they don't seem to line up, maybe it's some old glue or something, and if you turn it around a little bit they seem to fit. That's good. So I'll put that aside. Now with 2 of them there, I'll get my glue, and I've been using a magnifying glass just to make sure I've got really good control, and put a little dot on each of the little plastic, they're like little plastic locator cups. And I don't want to drag any string of glue across the LED. So I'll do 2 of these. And then it's just a matter of picking it straight up again without twisting it. And you can kind of line up through the plastic where they go, and a little bit of downwards force and a little bit of a twist, and you feel it drop in. It almost clicks, and then you give it a twist and it'll feel rock solid. You don't want it to rock, because that means it's not lined up properly. And the next one here does take a bit of patience. There we go, that's in as well. So I've only got 2, 4, 6, I've got 10 to go. And there we go guys, we have our full complement of LED lenses or diffusers. They went on really well. I think that'll be very successful. I was very happy to use this glue. I get a focus on that. Being the gel, it's really easy to control. You don't get drips, you don't get it running back down the nozzle. And as you saw with the magnifying glass, I could be really precise. So I'm very happy with that job. Being a super glue, they should be pretty much set now anyway, but I might just leave it half an hour. I'll go and have a cuppa, and then we'll start reassembling the TV. And now for the assembly, it's just a matter of placing the TV frame back in the bezel from whence it came, and there's no danger of harming the LCD panel. So I think this method is by far superior, a lot less risky, and it's now just a matter of making sure it's lined up. Looks pretty good. And clipping these plastic clips in. This end's got to go across a little bit. And the clips should just about, there we go, we can hear them starting to latch in. As easy as that. Once we're happy that all the clips are in and it's nicely seated, we can then reinstall our boards here. So we'll fold these back over, locate the strip boards in their little rubber clips. So there we go, we haven't stressed any of these delicate ribbons that go to the screen. We haven't even unplugged these ribbons, so these will be fine. We've just got to put our panels back on here. We can clip back in our T-con board, and then we've got a metal cover to go over that as well. I think we can put our T-con board cover back over now. It's only 2 screws. If we have to take it off to put these clip panels on the bottom, we can do that. I just want to secure the T-con so that we can roll the TV over and put the other bezel around. Let's turn the TV over now, and we can finish completing the bezel on the front. And now we can roll it back. And now we can put these plates on the bottom and secure the screws right around the edge. With all the panel screws and the bezel surround screws done, all we need to do is add a few accessories. So we have the stop switch and sensor assembly clips in here. We can put the cable back under here. I think it came from there. And it plugs into the main board, like so. And we have our speakers that just clip onto the case here. No screws to hold them in, and plugged in. And the one for the other side. And plug that one in. Quick check over. She's all finished. All we need to do is put the back cover on and give it a test. And that's the last screw, not a single one left over. Time for a test. Okay guys, I've hooked it all up, we're ready to go. Let's turn it on and see what the screen looks like. Looking pretty good. No cracked, damaged screen, no white dots. That's pretty good, I'm very happy with that. Okay, we better get a picture on it. Let's turn this on. And we'll have a look at our table tennis DVD and see what a picture looks like. Here we go. Oh, we might have a little bit of a white area there, but on a picture you don't really notice it. Probably one of the lenses wasn't quite seated properly, so you do have to be pretty careful. But there we go. Excellent picture, very watchable. That's now a saleable TV. So thanks for watching, guys. I think this is by far the best way to repair LED lights. Whether you're gluing the lenses on, whether you're replacing the LED strips, if you leave the screen down and lift the rest of the TV away from it, you're much less likely to damage the screen. So many people crack their screens and then you're up for a new TV. We were also pretty careful to to protect those little fine ribbon cables by just folding the T-con board out of the road. So that's my method. I've never broken a screen yet. I hope you've learned something from this. I better go and practice my table tennis. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.